I gotta be honest, I've never really been into animated movies. Don't get me wrong, the ones I do watch I enjoy, but they never hit me the same way as live-action movies do, you know? But then Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse dropped in 2018, and I gotta admit, I really liked it. Now, though I am a fan of Spider-Man, I was never fully on the bandwagon of those who called it the best Spider-Man movie or a masterpiece of modern cinema. But you know what? After watching the sequel Across the Spider-Verse, something shifted in me. I'm still not ready to crown it as the best Spider-Man movie ever, and even though it has its fair share of flaws, I think I just witnessed a genuine work of art. The story tells us how Miles Morales is juggling his responsibilities as a son while trying to live up to the Spider-Man mantle. But when a villain called the Spot appears, which I must say I liked how his origin is being a background character from the first movie, goes from being a generic villain to a multiverse-threatening menace that leads to Miguel O'Hara, the Spider-Man of 2099, to recruit an elite team of spider people to take him down. If you're anything like me and you're just so over the whole multiverse concept, even though it just appeared a couple of years ago, fear not. This movie, much like its predecessor, takes that concept and runs with it in the most awesome and creative way possible, unlike what the MCU has been doing. And let me tell you, as a proper sequel should, it amps things up to be bigger and darker. So, what do? They smartly decide to pull Miles Morales out of his world and plunge him headfirst into a full-on exploration of the multiverse. 6 universes to be precise, which ends up being a visual feast of epic proportions, showcasing a wide range of artistic styles that keeps the movie from feeling stale or repetitive. The film kicks off with a stellar prologue that shines a spotlight on Gwen Stacy, establishing her from being a side character to a co-protagonist in a natural, believable way. They give her a proper storyline and build her character with flaws, dreams, and a heartfelt desire to reconnect with her father. And here's the best part. They avoid all of that lazy feminist writing of making her better than the male characters or putting down Miles just to make her look good. Gwen's just another spider person, and I gotta say, they nailed her character arc. Props to the filmmakers for handling it so well. As for Miles, honestly, I've never been the biggest fan of the character. Whether it's from the comics I've read or how he came across in the PlayStation game, he always seemed to me like a black Peter Parker. That's it, lacking that special something that sets him apart. But ever since Into the Spider-Verse, I started to change my mind about him, and in this sequel, I gotta say, I'm fully sold on his character. Unlike Peter Parker, Miles has this incredibly tight bond with his family, which adds a whole new layer to his character, and also he's got his own set of problems and challenges that go way beyond being a carbon copy of another superhero. As a matter of fact, him being an outcast or the odd man out between all of the other spider people becomes a plot point on the movie, executed flawlessly, and that made me connect with him on a whole new level. The script pulls off a nifty trick. It manages to navigate the wild chaos of the multiverse without losing sight of the story's core simplicity, and it does this while smoothly introducing new characters that fit right into the narrative. My favorites were the charismatic rebel Hobie Brown, aka Spider-Punk, played by Daniel Kaluuya. This guy had some of the funniest lines in the whole movie, and I couldn't help but like him. And let's not forget about Miguel O'Hara, played by Oscar Isaac. In my book, he was the most intriguing character of them all. He's introduced as a really serious leader, which adds a stark contrast to all the other Spider-Men, but at the same time, he's an antagonist with clear motivations and a tragic past that adds depth to his role. Now, not every character hit the mark for me. Jessica Drew, played by Issa Rae, kind of fell flat. She was mostly there to scold Gwen and didn't bring much to the table plot-wise. And then we have the return of the Peter Parker from the first movie. Gotta be honest, I was disappointed with his part. He went from being a well-developed character in the first installment to feeling like a parody of millennials who just became parents. But I'm optimistic that the third movie will give him a chance to shine brighter. What makes this entire movie flow so beautifully, despite juggling so many characters, is its fantastic editing. It sets a fast pace, yet avoids feeling messy. I mean, I didn't even notice the 2 hours and 20 minutes fly by. Plus, there's a remarkable balance between the thrilling action sequences and those calm, introspective moments that truly define the movie's soul. although I have to admit there were a couple of action scenes where the screen got a bit overcrowded and the shots lasted no more than a mere 2 seconds, but in the grand scheme of things, it still works well. And this is where we reach the strongest part of the movie, the animation. I honestly can't find another way to describe it to you. This is a masterpiece. If the first film was groundbreaking, this one goes above and beyond, achieving the impossible feat of surpassing it, creating a visual spectacle that incorporates elements of all kinds, paper clippings, live-action characters, Lego figures, and more. But the most impressive thing is how all of these diverse styles seamlessly fit together. I personally loved Gwen Stacy's universe, drenched in watercolors that evoke the essence of an expressionist painting, where the characters' emotions are visually conveyed through an imaginative use of colors, composition, and texture, pure artistry at its finest. As for the characters, their relationships and developments are much deeper, like the blossoming romance between Miles and Gwen, and most importantly, the relationships they have with their respective parents. Perhaps the only negative things I have to say about the movie is that there are a couple of scenes where Miles and his mom seem to tread on familiar ground, feeling a bit repetitive. These moments don't do much to advance the plot or deepen their relationship, but my biggest problem with the movie is the lack of a proper third act. Even though it's a good written cliffhanger for the inevitable conclusion, the movie ends right at the climax. It's not a completely new thing in movies these days. I mean, look at Denis Villeneuve's Dune, which did something similar, but at least Dune had a clear 3-act structure and a certain level of closure. In contrast, Across the Spider-Verse feels like the midpoint of a larger story, leaving Miles' journey feeling incomplete and lacking of a satisfying arc, unlike Gwen, who does have a complete arc. Sure, I get that the script is setting up future payoffs and developments in the next movie, but that prevents this particular film from having a true resolution, and it can be a bit frustrating for viewers looking for a complete story in one sitting. All in all, the plot manages to stay grounded amidst all the chaos of the multiverse full of spider people, cool Easter eggs, and amazing action set pieces. But deep down, this film is all about the emotional family dynamics and what it means to truly live as Spider-Man, with all the sacrifices it demands, which is the true essence of the character. Whether you've been a Spidey fan since the 60s or just met him with the Tom Holland movies, Across the Spider-Verse delivers everything a Spider-Man fan could ask for and then some. It's got heart, it's got soul, and it's got that particular Spidey charm. Now, I will say that it's not quite on the same narrative level as its predecessor, but that's not necessarily a bad thing. Looking ahead, I'm crossing my fingers that the third installment keeps up the high quality we've seen so far. If it does, mark my words, we'll be witnessing one of the greatest Spider-Man stories ever told in any medium. Personally, I had a blast watching it, although I still have a soft spot for the first one. But enough about me. I'd like to know what you think. Share your thoughts in the comments below and let me know if you think this sequel outshines its predecessor or falls a bit short. See you on the next video.